welcome back to my channel. So this video is a book haul where I'm going to be showing you all the books I got in April and May. The first and second books I'm going to talk about are actually part of the same series. The first book is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, and this is the book 1 in the Wheel of Time series. And I have actually already read this one, and I have a reading vlog up in my channel that I will link down in the description below. The Wheel of Time series is an epic fantasy series, and this book specifically follows a group of characters after their village was attacked and they had to run. And I mean, you get the first look at this world and the magic system and like the magical creatures and the prophecies, and there is still so much to learn because this book was just like the tip of the iceberg of this world, and I'm definitely very excited to continue on with this series, and that's why I got book number 2, which is The Great Hunt. And in this one, I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything from the first book, but if you do want to know what happened, like my reading vlog is full of spoilers, and I talk about everything that happened there, and basically this one just follows the group of characters after what happened in the first book. And as I said, I'm definitely very excited to continue on with this series because the world sounds so interesting and I'm sure there is still so much to learn. And I will be doing a reading vlog for this book as well. I don't know if it's going to be out in June or just July, but yeah, I'm for sure very excited. Book number 3 is Subterranean by James Rollins, which I have also already read. And I talked about this book in my May TBR. And I said that last year I read another book by this author that I really enjoyed, so I was very excited to, read another book by him. And this one is a thriller and science fiction book which follows a group of researchers that go underground in Antarctica. And the readers, we know right away that there had been a previous team going underground that had never returned. They have no idea what happened. They think they're dead, but they don't know. But the researchers that are going down now have no idea about that previous team. So we just follow them and their adventures there and what they find. And I'll just talk more about it in my May wrap-up. The next book I got was Summit Lake by Charlie Donnelly. And this is the Portuguese version, but I'll insert the original cover right here. And I talked about this one in the video, my second video, where I talked about all the books I've read so far in 2021. And I read another book by this author, which is, I always forget the title of that because I read it in Portuguese, but I think it's The Girl Who Was Taken. If it's not, I'll just insert the right title here. And I really enjoyed that book, so I was very excited to read this one. This book is a mystery thriller. This book takes place in Summit Lake, North Carolina, which is a very beautiful and peaceful place, until a law student and also the daughter of a very powerful attorney is brutally murdered. And in this story, we will follow a reporter called Kelsey Castle, who will look into the girl's death, and she'll just find out that there are some strange things happening and cover-ups, and yeah, it sounds very exciting. The next 2 books are also part of the same series, and that is the Witcher series. And the first one is The Tower of the Swallow, and the other is The Lady of the Lake. And these are books 4 and 5 of the series. And I mean, if we include the first 2 short story collections, it's 6 and 7. And I'm not gonna talk about in detail what these books are about because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't read the previous books and wants to. But basically, in book 4, we are going to follow the characters right after book 3. And I mean, I'm going to say this because this is literally nothing new. It happens since the beginning of the story, and it also happened on the show. And there are people after Ciri, always. And there is only one safe place for her to go, and that is the Tower of the Swallow. And book number 5, I tried not to spoil myself when I looked up the synopsis, but basically it happens after they get to the Tower of the Swallow. Oh, and if I didn't mention it, and if you don't know, this is an epic fantasy series, and book 5 is actually the last book of the main story of the series because book 6, which is called Season of Storms, I think, is not like after this book. The story is not after this book. It's set between the short stories of the first short story collection called The Last Wish. So, like, this is the end of the main story, and I am very excited. The next book I got is Pet Sematary by Stephen King, and this is a horror novel. And I've actually seen a lot of people like on BookTube that I follow, and also just like random reviews, saying that this is their favorite Stephen King book, which makes me even more excited to read it. This book follows a family, the Creeds, who moved to rural Maine, and like I feel like every single like horror story, I mean not every single horror story, but there are so many horror stories and even other stories that are set in Maine. And I was actually talking to my roommate the other day about that because she was reading a book of mine that she borrowed and it was set in Maine, and I had like written there, why does everything happen in Maine? And she was like, I know, right? Why does everything happen in Maine? But anyway, they go to rural Maine and they find a cemetery in the woods, like a pet cemetery, which is like where the kids bury their pets and strange things start happening. And I also heard that this is obviously a horror story, but that the main subject of this book is actually grief and how to deal with grief. And yeah, I'm very interested to read this one. And I might do a reading vlog for this one because I think that would be fun. And I love horror, so I'm definitely excited. The next book I got was Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste, and this one is a contemporary and more like literary fiction. And this one is not set in Maine. This is set in Shaker Heights, which is in Cleveland, which is Ohio, I think. I hope. And so basically in Shaker Heights, everything seems to be picture perfect. And what's the woman's name? Elena Richardson is like the embodiment of the picture perfect town. And then Mia Warren, who is an artist and a single mom, gets to Shaker Heights, and she is bringing a mysterious past with her. And I actually took this sentence out of the synopsis in Goodreads because I thought it was like so good, and I'm just gonna read it. This book explores the weight of secrets, the nature of art and identity, and the ferocious pull of motherhood, and the danger of believing that following the rules can avert disaster. That sounds really cool. And especially after I've read Everything I Never Told You by this author, I am so excited to read this one because I love Everything I Never Told You. It was an easy 5 out of 5 for me, so I can't wait to get this book. The next two books are also part of a series, and they are God, Emperor of Dune and Heretics of Dune, which are also like the book 4 and 5 of the Dune series. And again, I don't want to spoil anything about the previous books, but just like a brief overview. The first two books were following Paul Atreides, who becomes the Emperor of Arrakis, and Arrakis is a planet that is the producer of melange. And melange is a spice, like a very powerful spice, that is like the most important thing in the planet, or like maybe the only important thing about this planet. But yeah, like melange moves the whole economy, so being Emperor of Arrakis is like very important. And yeah, some people don't want Paul to be the Emperor of Arrakis. And so in the first two books we follow him. And in book 3 we follow his children, Leto and Ganima. And basically in book 4, God Emperor of Dune, we're going to follow Leto after his transformation at the end of book 3. And like my favorite book of the series was the first one, and I still love the second, and I still enjoyed the third. But in my opinion, they have definitely gotten worse as the series progressed, so I'm a bit apprehensive about going into these books, but I'm still very interested in the story and in finishing the series. So yeah, I hope I enjoy them. And again, I didn't want to spoil myself for book 5 without reading book 4, but I just saw that it happens after Leto is no longer the Emperor of Arrakis. And we have gotten to the last book, which is Dracula by Bram Stoker, which I think everyone knows is a classic horror book. And I actually also got this one in Portuguese. And I know that this book is in the format is like letters and diary entries, and that just concerns me a little because I like action and I don't know how much action is gonna be like in letters or diary entries. So yeah, I'm a little scared. And also I've seen some reviews saying that, it wasn't great, people didn't love it, but I mean it's classic horror and I love vampires. So I mean I'm definitely very interested in reading this book. And also the cover is so beautiful, like red and black are my favorite colors, so just looking at this cover makes me happy. And I'm also thinking about doing a dedicated reading vlog for this book. So yeah, it should come out soon. So yeah, those are all the 11 books I physically bought in April and May, and that means this is it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!